Hello and welcome to this tutorial on how to damage voxels and how to heal voxels and how to smash through voxels in Crayta. So in this tutorial I'm going to have a look at this game here, which is essentially you're in a mine and it's your job to smash through the walls in your and collect things, find some gold, that sort of stuff. And in this tutorial I'm essentially going to look at how we damage a voxel mesh. How to make it so that it takes a few more hits than just one to damage a voxel mesh, and then how to apply radial damage, and also how to handle voxels healing and what all of that is about. So to start with, if I want to damage a voxel mesh in my game, at the moment, if I run this game, I've got a weapon, so that's a key part of it, is you need either a melee or a gun weapon, or your own script where you're applying damage to whatever you hit. And at the moment, although I'm applying damage, when I hit this wall here, nothing happens. So let's fix that. And that's an easy fix. The first thing we need to do is select the entity that I'm trying to smash through, the voxel mesh. So in this case, it's this terrain here. And I just scroll down in the entity editor until I find the damage enabled checkbox, and I check that. And you can do that in basic mode as well. That doesn't need advanced mode. And now when I return to my game, as long as I'm applying damage to something that I'm hitting, I should be able to damage the voxels. Notice that I am damaging the single voxel that is under the crosshair. So it's exactly where I'm looking at. It's just damaging that one voxel. So what happens if I want to make it so you can damage this kind of rock, which is totally cool, but not be able to damage this kind of rock? So at the moment I can damage both kinds, but I want to make it so that the granite rock there, which is harder than this sort of soft orangey rock, I want to make that granite rock either harder to damage or impossible to damage. And in order to manage different types of voxels and their damage constraints, I'm going to need to install a package. So let's return to the game editor. And if I head over to the community and search for the voxel damage package, which is a Crayta package, I should be able to see it here. It says voxel damage. I can click install. And so what has come down, if I go to my library, if I navigate to the packages tab, which you won't have on basic mode, but you don't necessarily need it. That's just to show you what's come down from that package. I've got a few scripts in here. So voxel health script, damage modifier script, voxel health script, voxel health value script, and then finally damage table script. So these are scripts that are going to enable us to have different amounts of health for different voxels in our game. And that will then mean that I can make this granite rock harder to smash than this softer sort of orangey rock, whatever rock that is. Not sure what rock that is. So the way we're going to do this is I select the voxel mesh that I want to apply these scripts to. And to keep things organized, I'm going to do entity, create child, script folder, new script folder. And I'm going to call this voxel management, or you can call it something, just something to do with the fact that this is where the code's going to be that looks after the different types of voxels. And in that script folder, I'm going to add the voxel health script. Now you'll see that it comes with a default max and default heal time. So the default max health, that is how much health all of the voxels in your game world will have. So if you look at, and to put this in context, let's look at the pickaxe that I'm using. And in the melee script, you'll see the amount of damage it causes is 350. So the pick is causing that much damage, and every voxel in my game world has the default max health of 100. So every voxel in my game world will be damaged or be destroyed completely in one hit. If I was to change that to 500, you'll see, if I just test this and run this, that now voxels take 2 hits to damage. So it could slow my player down. I could do that. I could make it so that my player's weapon is really powerful against humans, but really weak against rocks, but eventually you could get through. So you can tweak that value and play around with that. I'm going to leave my pickaxe at damaging at 300, and I'm going to return this to 100. So the default for every voxel is going to be damaged in one hit of a pickaxe and probably a few shots of a pistol, something like that. Now to return to this problem that we were looking at, which was how do I make it so that this granite is harder, more difficult to destroy than this orangey rock here? So the way we do that is within this voxel management script folder, I'm going to add another script folder, and this is going to be called Voxel Health Values. So in this script folder, this is basically going to be my model, or my like a database of all the different types of voxels that I want to have different from the default max. So in this script folder, I'm going to do entity add script, and this is going to be, rather than the voxel health script, I'm going to add the voxel health value script. So this is a specific script, so this will specify which voxel I'm talking about, and then I can set a specific health and a specific heal time for that specific voxel. It's very specific. So to get hold of the voxel, there's two ways. I can either select it in this list here, so I could type rock and find it there, or you can actually just drag and drop it from your voxels over here. So if I was to look through here and go, oh, I want to use this one, I can literally drag and drop that onto that drop down box. So there's a couple of different ways you can edit that setting. And I'm saying that this granite, I want that health, I want it to be, if I wanted it to be really strong, I could say something like 1500. So it'd take quite a few hits with a pickaxe. Although, you know, it might be that I need to use dynamite for that. And then my dynamite would need to blow up 1500's worth of damage. So you might notice now it takes a lot longer to damage that, which is great. That's something I was after. If I wanted it to be invincible, I could change that to 0. So the health is 0, which means it's invincible. Running up to that voxel now, hit that, and it will never break. So that's how to make an invincible voxel. And that can be really good as well. So that can give your players opportunities to carve their own routes in this tunnel system or whatever you're doing with it. But also have some constraint, like they can't, like areas they can't go, or they have to find a specific way around and that sort of thing. Now, another thing that you might be wondering, when I added these scripts, there was this default heal time here and the heal time here. So the heal time is how long it takes that voxel to heal. Now, the voxel won't regenerate once you destroy it. So if it's destroyed in the game, it's destroyed completely unless you reset all of the voxels in the voxel mesh. If, however, you damage it somewhat, so with these granite ones, when they were at 1500, and I hit it, if I don't damage it for 3 seconds, it will heal back to 1500, if you get what I mean. So gradually I'm chipping away at it, but eventually it could re-heal itself unless I damage it completely or destroy it completely. So this heal time is quite good for being able to make sure that your game, people can't accidentally shoot things. They have to, you know, plow through stuff. I'll show you this in action. So if I have the health at, let's say the health is at 400. I know that my pickaxe is doing 350. So if I go over here and I hit this once, and then I wait a few seconds, and I hit it again, even though I've hit it twice, technically I've done 700 damage to this, and its damage was 400. Because I'm waiting a few seconds, it's regenerating its health and it's staying alive. So that's another thing you can play around with, and that might be something that you want to use in your game. Now, you may be thinking, okay, that's great. I really like that I can damage the voxels in my game, but I want to make it so that players can carve tunnels really easily through the game. So you may have seen there is a secret area I've made here. Now, to get to this secret area might take my player some time to get there through the single block tapping away. So if you have advanced mode and access to a keyboard and mouse, you can actually do some modifications to your melee script if you would like to do a little bit of a wider damage. So you can actually do, rather than, if you then open your melee script, so go to scripts and look for the melee script and double click that. Now this melee script is applied to any axe or any melee weapon that you might have in your game. On line 170 and 172, you'll find that this is where we are damaging whatever we hit. So this might be damaging other players, this might be damaging meshes, or this might be damaging voxels. In our scenario in this game, we're damaging voxels. If I wanted to damage a wider area rather than a single voxel, that's actually entirely doable. I would just need to slightly change the way that we do this. So rather than hit entity, apply damage, so I'm applying a damage to whatever the raycast has found, I can do get world, and this will apply damage to everything within an area. Apply radial damage, and then I can put in the amount of damage this causes. I can get hold of the position to apply that, the center point to apply that radial damage. I'm using the values that are in the property bag already, so I'm not rewriting any of the properties. I'm still using the same ones. And I will also use the damage table. I can actually just copy this line here and use that for the last property there. Allow my clipboard access. Thank you. And the same again here. So there's two ways it applies damage. One of them is with a damage table. So if your melee weapon has a damage table applied to it with some damage modifiers, then you can still use those in the radial damage. Or if you don't have that, or you haven't set that, then you can do it without. And this will just be these values here for this one. The amount of damage, the center point, the radius of that sphere, the amount of fall off here. So, you could make it so that the further away from that center point, the less damage it causes. And finally, the parent is the player that's holding the whatever melee weapon was just used. That's really important. So I did this the first time and I didn't set that, and every time I hit something, my player died. So that is to make sure that whatever you put in there won't get hurt by your melee damage. Okay, so we've got some slightly different damage going on now. So this is, rather than applying damage, we're applying radial damage, which is going to apply damage in a sphere in the area around where you've just hit. So it will damage all of the voxels in an area around where you've hit. And I'm using the max range here. Am I using the max range here? Yeah. As my my radius of that sphere. So now when I hit the wall, did I save it? I did not save it. Save. Okay. So now when I hit the wall, I'm getting a much bigger smash, smashing through there. And I can crouch down here and I can start to tunnel my way into places. So now I can use, now that I've added that radial, rather than damaging individual voxels, I can use that radial damage and then I can smash my way into different areas like that. Okay, so the last thing you might be wondering is, okay, that's cool, but what if I want to make it so that some event happens in my game and everything gets reset? That's possible as well. So you may have seen that in this cave here, I've got this lever. And what this lever is going to do is this lever is going to reset all of the voxels, but you could use anything that you want to do this. Any entity you can interact with or collide with or whatever you want to use. I could use this lamp. It's really straightforward. If you want to remove all of the damage and all the destroyed voxels and return the game back to its original state, the voxels back to their original state when you started, it's pretty straightforward. If I go to the lever, I'm going to click on whatever asset that is, and I'm going to find the onInteract event, click the plus, then I'm going to find my script folder, my Voxel management script folder, the Voxel health script, and there's actually an event in there called reset all Voxels. So if I select that event, then when I go back into the game, let's smash our way through to that lever. And press the lever. It's gone and I'm trapped, and that's probably what happened to this poor skeleton. So hopefully this was a helpful tutorial on some of the cool stuff you can do with voxels and voxel health and smashing through them and finding secret areas with skeletons in them. Let me know what you think of the tutorial. Hopefully it was helpful. If you get stuck, don't forget that our Discord is live and active, and there are a lot of us game developers on there, and everyone's helping each other out with Lua scripting and scripting in Crayta. So it is a great place and a great community to get involved with if you're interested in making some games using Crayta. I look forward to seeing what you make with the Voxel Health script.